In this video, we're looking at calculating averages and range for a set of data. So, looking at this question, here's our data. We've got 1 all the way through to 11. What you should notice straight away is it is not in order either. The first thing we're asked to do is calculate the median. So, median, make sure you know what it means. It is the middle value. But before you find the middle value, make sure they're in order. So from smallest to largest, or from largest to smallest. Either way works absolutely fine. What I like to do is go with the smallest one first. So looking at, we've got a 1, we have got 1.5, and there's 2 of those. So it needs to be written down twice. Next we have got 2, and then we've got 2 lots of 3. We have got a 4, a 6, 7, and an 11. And just to double check, I should have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got all my values there, and I crossed them off every time up here just to make sure I wasn't missing out on one. So we're on the middle value. So what I like to do is cross off the first one, cross off the last, second, last, and continue on until we end up with now 2 numbers in the middle. It won't always be 2 numbers. It's just the 1 number and then that's your answer. But given that we've got 2 numbers, what we want to do is figure out what's halfways between 3 and 3. Well, you might figure out already, there is no halfways, it must be 3 our answer. But just to go through the process, if these were 2 different numbers, what I would do is add the 2 numbers together and then divide it by half. Or divide it in half, I should say. So we end up with 6 divided by 2. So the median is 3. And that's your middle value. Our next one is the mean. So mean, add, and then divide. We add all the numbers together and divide by the number of values that are there. So adding all of these together, what we should end up with is 40. You can double check for me if you wish. As I said before, there's 10 values here. So I need to do 40 divided by 10, which is equal to 4. And that's the mean. The final average that we're asked to calculate is the mode. And mode means most common. So which value appears the most in our data? I've got 2 1.5s. I've got 2 3s. And I believe that's all that comes up twice. Nothing comes up 3 times. So what we've got here, mode equals 1.5 and 3. So there's actually 2 modes to this set of data. And what that would be referred to is bimodal. And it's got 2. Won't always be bimodal. Sometimes it'll just have 1 mode. You might have a set of data that'll have 3 modes. So it'll be trimodal, etc., etc. But in this case, there's 2 modes. And lastly, it's not an average. This is our range. So it tells us the measure of spread. And this is biggest value, take away the smallest value. Going back up to our data, what I like to do for this one is actually I'm going to look at what I did for the median, because in the median I know that this is the smallest and the furthest to the right is the largest. So I'm going to use the 1 and the 11 rather than try and find it up here again. Okay, so I'm using what I've already done. So there's 11, take away 1, which is obviously 10, and that is our range. You might notice that when it comes to the median and the mean and sometimes the mode, they're generally numbers that are close together. So 3, 4, here we've got 1.5 and 3, they're all pretty close together. Whereas the range, it'll quite often not be Not always the case, but quite often it won't be the same as, it won't be similar to the mean or the median. And that is how you calculate them. So have a go at these ones for yourself. So there's your set of data at the top. Calculate the mode, the mean, and the median. Note that they're mixed up in comparison to the last question. And finally, see what the range is for this data. So pause the video now. Right, I think we've had long enough to look at this. So the mode, if you recall, is the most common. So I have got 3 is there twice. I've got a 7 there twice. And that's all that repeats. So actually, again, we've got another one that's bimodal. So 3 and 7 would be our answer for that one. Mean, what you would have done here is added all these up and divide by the number of numbers. So adding them together, I believe we get 40. And that needs to be divided by, there are 8 numbers. 40 divided by 8 is 5, and that's our mean. If in another question you end up with a decimal here, that's absolutely fine. You can have decimal answers. It just so happens with these examples, we're getting whole numbers every time. And finally, for our averages, we're looking at the median. So median we know is the middle value, but I need to put them in order first, and they are not in order at the moment. So 2, 3, and 3. We do have a 4. And then we're jumping to 1, 6, 2 7s, and an 8. And again, I should have 8 values here. Yep, there's all 8 of them. So cross off the first, cross off the last, second, second, last, and so on until we get one, or 2 values in the middle. We've got 2 again. So what I need to do is find what's halfways between 4 and 6. You may already know it without having to add and divide by 2, but let's go through that process anyway. 4 and 6 is 10. Divided by 2 to find halfways, and our answer is 5. And you might notice that it's exactly the same as our mean as well. Lastly, the range, or measure of spread. I'm going to look at the smallest number. I'm going to take it away from the biggest number. So we've got 8, subtract the 2, and our range for our data is 6. Hopefully you got those right. If not, do take note of it. And have a go finally at this question. You've got your data on top, find the 3 averages, and finally the range. So pause the video now. Right, so starting off, we're looking for the mode, the most common value. I can see I've got 2 6s, I've got 2 8s, that means bimodal again, 4, 2, 1, 10, 18, yep, bimodal again, 6 and 8. Next we've got our mean. Adding these together, I believe it comes to 63. And this time there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 values. So 63 divided by 9. Luckily, it does divide in nicely. It is an integer. Our answer is 7. The median, so middle value, but let's put them in order first. Smallest number is 1, followed by a 2. Next up, we've got 4. Yep. We've got 6, 6, 2 8s, a 10, and the 18. Just to double check, I should have 9 values. 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, and they're in order. So, last, first, second, second last, third, etc. until we get 1 or 2 numbers in the middle. This time I've only got the 1 number in the middle. So that is my answer. The median is 7. And again, it's quite similar, quite close to the mean. Finally, the range. So biggest take away the smallest. Very straightforward. 18, take away the 1. And the range of our data is 17. It's quite large, so there's a big spread. Now your 3 averages and the range. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this has helped.